What has 2020 made you learn about yourself? I touch my face a lot. Ugh. Same. Having to do all of our meetings with webcams on has made me realize this. I've worked from home forever, but we almost never used our webcams before. Now we have to all the time. I've also learned that my mouth looks really weird when I talk. Almost like I'm not opening it, so now I started paying attention to that and it's driving me nuts. It's like having a bad song stuck in my head. I'm sure nobody else notices, but if I watch a recording back or even glance at myself on the screen when I'm doing a presentation, I cringe because I find it so awful. I try super hard to never look at myself in meetings, lol. Same here. But I can't look away. Do I look weird? Are my eyes looking distracted? Oh my gosh, one eyebrow is higher than the other. Zoom made me quite self-conscious. Haha, before every work meeting I do start meeting in my personal room just to see how I look on camera to make sure I don't look like a tired corpse before joining the real meeting. For the first half of the pandemic I didn't have a webcam and it was glorious. Then I got a laptop issued through work and now I have to bother with putting on makeup and throwing on a work-appropriate shirt with my PJ pants, of course. I love surprise meetings where I get 10 minutes notice to get my speech together and look like I'm a functioning, respectable adult. That I don't really have hobbies/passions. I thought with all the extra time I'd end up doing more. But I did even less than usual. This is weird extra time though. It's kinda sticky like honey and slows you down whilst everything else keeps moving. There are lots of things. Just pick a thing and give it a go. Don't worry too much about whether you'll do it again or whether you'll be any good at it. That's actually great advice. Thanks. And happy cake day. Yeah. Funny how we all started this thing off with I'm going to learn woodworking. I'm going to finish the hard crossword puzzles. Etc. Etc. But mostly what we've done is drink a lot. Eat too much. And quietly but forcefully resent our families. I actually just started Rosetta Stone. That's peeps expensive. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't free for me. And I started German a few weeks ago. So far I've kept up really well. I've done it almost every day. My son is in 9th grade and taking German, so we can even say a few things to each other now. I have a blue pen. The red horse is running. Damn. Good for you for making the most of this year. All I learned is that my breath stinks. Yeah. Making the most of it 9 months later. Lol. And I have been doing a lot of nothing and spending way too much time online. How much of a chunk of my money I spend on recreational pursuits. Without that avenue available, my bank account has swelled. However, spending months upon months alone has made days meaningless. They all just blur together. I often don't know what day of the week it is. Was it yesterday or last week? I don't know. Everything is a blur. Which means time is both incredibly slow and way too fast. Seriously, this year has felt like 5 years long, but it's also flying by. It's weird. It's really peeped with my perception of time. Things I think happened a couple of days prior were actually weeks ago. I'll check the clock, do one thing, and come back and 2 or 3 hours have gone by. It's so weird. Same. So bad. I was talking to my boss last week and she asked how long we had been tracking this specific thing, and I was like, honestly, I have no idea. My perception of time is so messed up. Maybe a month. Or 2? I can find the email about it to know for sure, but peep if I can accurately remember how long ago things happened. When the election was 2 weeks ago. It felt like it happened months ago, but I was looking at the calendar and was WTF. The election was just 2 weeks ago? That my lifestyle is almost identical to a quarantine. Same, besides a few outings I'd normally do. I basically have the same lifestyle. Instead of pathetic losers, now we are responsible citizens. That's actually a slogan of an advertisement campaign from the government here in Germany. Not sure if there are English subtitles, but you can find it here. That is a fantastic PSA. I've got a lot of love to give and no one to give it to. Make sure you are giving some of that love to yourself. Ain't no lovin' like self-lovin'. That I'm not introverted enough to basically stay in isolation for 6 months and still feel fine about it. I may hate commuting in open offices and being around people a lot. But I guess I still need at least some social contact. Yeah, if you asked me before the pandemic, I would tell you I prefer being indoors, but the lockdowns have really showed me how incorrect that is. I have about 2 good friends. I enjoy being alone. But if I didn't go on a walk with at least one of them twice a week, I would feel so alone. Who are you supposed to bitch about her husband and teenager too? If I didn't get those walks with my only friends, I would go crazy. Especially having a teen going through the weirdest/worst first year of high school ever. I almost went to jail my first year of high school. So I'd say your son at least has that. I like people more than I thought I did, and I will be saying yes to more invitation when it's over. I've been surprised by how much I miss casual acquaintances. Like the dudes in my cycling club and the Friday group down at the aquarium. We weren't close. I never saw any of them outside of riding or volunteering. But I really miss the feeling of clipping in and heading out on the road at dawn with the group. Or walking into the break room and just chatting about the crowd today. OMG. Yes. Normally I refrain from hugs. But when all of this is over, all my friends are getting the biggest hug I'll ever give them. I miss them all. That I really hate household chores and I'm a bad cook. I started this year literally screaming at my dishes to wash themselves. The past 2 weeks though, I've managed to stay on top of it. It's literally taken me a year to learn how to do the dishes. I feel you, bro. You got this. The trick is to clean as you cook. If there's multiple stages of cooking involved, wash a few dishes in the waiting period. Right before you eat. Give your food a second to cool and coagulate. By knocking out the rest of the dishes. Then when you're done eating, all you have left is the dishes you used to eat with. Clean as you cook. Time to lean. Time to clean. That even though I can normally meet my friends only a few times a year, I really need those few times. It's not that I'm lonely. It's just that I'm unhappy. That's a hard realization to make. But it sounds like progress. Just because I theoretically understood what issues I have and where they come from, doesn't mean that I have solved them. There's a big peeping difference between the time I need to figure that speep out and the time it takes to actually make progress. Patience and acceptance are seemingly worth more than insight and great revelations. There is such a thing as spending too much time with your family. Or too little. I miss being able to visit family on the weekend. Same here. Both my parents have been staying safe and limiting how much my sister and I can visit them. I stayed with my mom for a week in the summer only because I had to get my wisdom teeth out. Other than that, no Thanksgiving or Christmas with either of my parents this year. It's definitely more lonesome. That I'm very fragile. But not that Fargal runs naked into the rain. By choice or by necessity? Depends. Was it necessary to protect South Knot City or a choice? I am the particle of God. That people actually like me and don't just get annoyed because of me every time I speak to them. That hits close to home. I always feel like my life only inconveniences those around me. That every time I talk I am just annoying someone. Turns out that people do enjoy being around me. And miss me when I am not there. This has been a hard thing to internalize. But I am trying. It showed me how fast life can actually be over. Many people died around me. My dad died a few weeks ago. This year showed me how expensive and fragile life is. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you and your family are doing okay. I often take solace in the insignificance of life, but it's times like these we can't help but just appreciate how damn incredible it is. That human contact, like a hug, is peaking important. that everyone around you is also struggling with problems. And being kind sometimes has a profound impact on people's lives. And that people act like a bunch of peepnuts when an epidemic spreads. A couple months ago I saw my sister. She had gotten me a really thoughtful gift for my birthday. And without thinking I gave her a hug. I realized though that I shouldn't have without asking if it was okay first, as we were both being really careful. So, I broke away quick, apologizing. But she pulled me back in for a big tight hug. We both instantly teared up. I think that was the best hug I've ever had. I can do stuff if I really focused on it. And that my loneliness is something I can control and not caused by my parents' upbringing. That's great. Teach me. Maybe you feel lonely because you're looking for the world, your parents to tell you that it is okay to be you. Your parents are just kids who got old. Who got raised by their parents who didn't know much better. I'm a perfectionist. I found that my parents' expectations of me have caused me to strive for perfection in all that I do. But once you take the power away from the idea of who you should be for them/others, you can think clearly. You love your parents. That's why you try so hard for them. Let that be enough. You can only do so much. Let your love be enough regardless of if you're loved back. Sooner or later the world will match your love, because there are people out here who would love to know a person like you. That I'm actually pretty good at waiting. Just casually sitting at home and waiting for something I can't even see to go away. Patience is a virtue. I get bored of things really quickly. I must have cycled through the same 4 or 5 console games at least 4 times throughout the pandemic. I've been struggling to finish books. I used to love watching movies and now I barely watch one every week. I'm like this. I'll be heavily invested in something, spending hours on it in one sitting and then not touch it again for ages. It's really not that useful a trait, lol. Given to opportunity, I will become an overweight alcoholic. I should appreciate essential workers more. I'm a nurse, but holy peep do I appreciate grocery workers, mechanics, mail carriers, and everyone in a sector that a Karen will ask for your manager. My parents were essential workers, grocery and garbage workers. I was embarrassed to tell people growing up. Now I wear that with pride because they worked so damn hard to raise me and my siblings. Absolutely. Props to your parents, it's people like them that keep society running and they deserve so much more than they get.